Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl, and we're in June. It's midway through the year and we've just had the whole summer showcase of summer showcases with the Summer Games Festival, Future Games Festival, Xbox, PC gaming, a whole bunch of them. And as we did last year, I thought I'd do another what is my Steam wish list currently. So there's been quite a few games added since watching those showcases, if we get news of new games. So we're going to take a look and run through those. So there's plenty to get through, so let's get going. First up, if you go to the Steam page, you've got Steam's summer showcase of summer showcases, so you can actually go and have a look at all the spotlight events. The ones that particularly interested me the most, you've got the Xbox Game Showcase, the Summer Game Fest, the PC Gaming Show, and the Future Game Show, and you've also got Steam Next Fest. But there are other ones on here as well. You've got Woman-Led Games, you've got Wholesome Direct, you've got the Latin American Game Showcase, IGN Live, and so on. So plenty to look at there. So jumping to my wish list then. So the whole bunch of games here, they're already released. We're not going to delve into those. We're going to look at the ones which are coming out in the future. What we've got is we've got them all ordered in terms of their release date for those that have release dates. So first up is Flintlock. So this is one that did come out in one of the shows. So let's take a look at this game, Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn.
Kind meddled where you shouldn't. As long as Ooh is free, your world is in mortal peril.
And how is it that you know all of this?
Because I am a god too.
If you're a god, you're one of them. Why would I do anything to help someone I've sworn to kill?
If it's vengeance you want, I'll give it to you.
Okay, so there we go. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn being released on July 18th. So from game studio A44, makers of Ashen, comes an explosive Souls-light where gods and guns collide in a battle for the future of humanity. So overall, it looks like pretty fast-paced combat. I kind of like the aesthetic of it. I'm interested in this kind of Souls-light gameplay element to it. So yeah, definitely one that went straight on the wish list to have a look at. You can pre-purchase it now on Steam. It's coming in at 10% off the retail price, so currently at $35.99 on the Steam store. So yeah, this one, really quite interested in it. Similar games to the ones that I personally played, so it says it's similar to Elden Ring and Hogwarts Legacy, and say this is a single player game. So there you go, Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, the first on our wish list. Next up is one that we've seen before, and that is Frostpunk 2. Okay, so Frostpunk 2 there, due out on July 25th of this year. So discover a city survival game set 30 years after an apocalyptic blizzard ravaged Earth, transforming our world into a harsh, icy wasteland. In Frostpunk 2, you must face a new deadly threat that appears on the horizon, human nature and its unsatiated thirst for power. So produced and developed by 11-Bit Studios, available to pre-purchase right now for $44.99 on the Steam store. So, and in terms of what it says, games relevant to me, similar to games that I've played, it's coming up as Jurassic World. Overall, I like survival games. I haven't played a cityscape survival game in this way, but I have to say it's something that, you know, having looked into, seen some of the trailers, this is definitely a game that went on the list to give it a go and see how it plays. But yeah, straight away, I think it's got a really nice aesthetic look to it. Next up on the list, Black Myth Wukong. So no gameplay in that trailer, but again, a nice aesthetic and a very nice looking trailer, I have to say. This is due in August 19th of 2024, so 2 months to go till we see this game, currently available to pre-purchase for $59.99 on the Steam store. So Black Myth Wukong is an action RPG rooted in Chinese mythology. You shall set out as the destined one to venture into the challenges and marvels ahead, to uncover the obscure truth beneath the veil of a glorious legend from the past. So again, really a nice looking game, nice aesthetic, but I have seen other videos with the gameplay. I have to say some of the gameplay, particularly the combat, which is really what I'm interested in, is how the combat plays, does look really nice. So yeah, Black Myth Wukong, definitely one on the list, and not too long to go before we get a chance to play it. Developer and published by Game Science. Next up is one that we've heard quite a lot about, and it's Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, one that has been talked about and also date pushed back a few times.
Скіфе, радий тебе бачити, друже. Валимо звідси. Ви тільки погляньте на це. Край, чарівний край черемоша і прута. Ти моя любов, ти рідна матінко моя. Жива.
Координати закинув. Поквапся.
Зараз час такий. Час можливостей.
Усі ці жертви, усі ці смерті. Який в них сенс?
Зона така, якою бачиш її ти. Я ж показав тобі, якою я її бачу. Іди своїм шляхом, і тоді ти зможеш побачити зону по-своєму.
So there we go, Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. I did play the first game. It was a really good game. So this was an easy wish list for me. In terms of game trailers, this is exactly what you want to see. You can see the gameplay, the in-game footage. You can actually, it looks really nice, seems to play really nice and smooth. Obviously, you have to wait until, often there are release day woes. But overall, that is a really nice looking game. And with the delays in some of the release date for obvious reasons, given this is made and produced in the Ukraine, they've probably had a good amount of time to work out a lot of those issues. In terms of what it says about the game, discover the vast Chornobyl exclusion zone full of dangerous enemies, deadly anomalies, and powerful artifacts. Unveil your own epic story as you make your way to the heart of Chernobyl. Make your choices wisely as they will determine your fate in the end. So this comes out on September the 5th. It's come from the developer and published by GSC Game World and is currently available to pre-purchase the standard edition for $59.99 on the Steam store. In terms of similar games to what I've played, it comes in as Cyberpunk and Far Cry 5 according to Steam, and they say this is a single player game, but there is the original Stalker game, so if you want to see more about how that looks and plays, probably give you a feeling for what this game is going to be about. But yeah, what definitely for me, this was an easy wish list item. So next up, another easy wish list one for me. I'm a huge Warhammer fan overall, both on tabletop and the games, and I really enjoyed the first game of Warhammer 40k Space Marine. This is the sequel.
We kill it. We break the synaptic connection. They'd scatter like rats. And if you're wrong, if it's not there, I cannot afford to throw men after a hunch. Give me 2 squads. 3 Space Marines. That's all I can spare. Brief them immediately.
Approaching drone zone.
Talassa, we are almost there. What is your status?
Drop complete. Moving to objective.
Acknowledged. Proceeding to relay.
Lassa on the march to take that Hive Tyrant's head.
Maintain Vox reports.
Clear that wall-climbing scum! Death to all Xenos! Now we end this. I have been dying to carve up some Xenos.
Bomb is in place, Command. We can make it! Keep going!
Die!
The lights will guide us, brothers.
Going to kill you soon enough, demon! Hold fast, brother! Withstand the heat and keep moving! That was but a taste of what is to come.
Okay, again, if you're a Warhammer fan, this is a really nice trailer. But I think some of the things to pick out of that, we've got 3-player narrative campaign, you've got a 3-player co-op, you've got a 6v6 PvP. So you've got a lot more options in this. If you've played the first game, you're following Captain Titus, and basically you play him throughout the whole game. Whereas here you've got customization options. You can change how you look. You can change the chapter of the Marines, which is basically changing different colors. We also see that the main protagonist of the first game, that was the orcs, and then some chaos in it. In this, we clearly see you've got a lot of Tyranids in there, but there were definitely some chaos elements as well. So, we saw Plague Marine in there, we saw 1,000 Sun in there, Black Legion in there, and we saw a Helldrake flying over as well. So that you can see there's different enemy elements in there. So for me, I think this game, really can't wait for it. It seems like by pushing back the date, because this was delayed by quite a significant amount of time, they've had a lot of chance to hone and tidy up the game. There were some mixed reactions when some initial gameplay stuff came out, and that does seem to have been tightened up and is looking really nice, I have to say, and definitely one that I will be looking to pick up. Pre-purchase is currently available $59.99 on the Steam store, and if we look at what it says embody the superhuman skill and brutality of a space marine. Unleash deadly abilities and devastating weaponry to obliterate the relentless Tyranid swarms. Defend the Imperium in spectacular third-person action in solo or multiplayer mode. And I say releasing there on September the 9th, developed by Saber Interactive and published by Focus Entertainment. And when it says similar to games you've already played, well, there you go. It's similar to the first Space Marine game. So, this one definitely... You've got single player, online PvP, online co-op, and I really like that. I've recently played a game, V Rising, which offers similar as well, where you can work with your friends, you can play it on your own, or you can play it in a PvP mode. And I like having all those different elements to a game to suit what works best for you. So Space Marine 2, looking really, really good. Definitely I think they've made the most of that delay in release date. And, sometimes when games are delayed, we don't like it, but it can really, really have a huge impact on the quality of game you get at release. And we've seen in many occasions where the quality of that release can dictate how well the game will do in the long term. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Next up on the list is Pax Dei. Okay, a nice, interesting trailer there. So it's a social sandbox MMO due to come out early access on June the 18th. I think one of the interesting things with Pax Dei is, we've seen some sort of alpha release stuff. There's been some sort of beta tests out there. So there's videos you can watch of content creators that have had that access to play the game. Certainly the crafting and building seems absolutely amazing, and it's great to have that in an MMO. I think we have to wait and see kind of how the combat's going to play out, how the end game's going to play out, and then also about the resource gathering, like how many resources are available, because I know there had been some issues there. But this is a game that I really want to do well, and I definitely want to get involved with it when it comes out. So welcome to a vast social sandbox MMO inspired by the legends of the medieval era. Here, myths are real, ghosts exist, and magic is unquestioned. Join thousands of players as you explore the land, build your home, forge your reputation, and craft your own stories. What world will you make. So, as I said, released early access on June 18th, developed and published by Mainframe Industries. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. There's currently no pricing for this in terms of similar games to what I've already played, Conan Exiles and V Rising on there. So, V Rising, yeah, I think it's definitely going to be an interesting one to watch. The thing that sort of stands out to me at the moment is what the combat and then the end game is going to look like. But so far from the crafting and building aspect, and for those that have tuned into some of my streams and content in the past, you know I really love building big bases and stuff. Subnautica, Sons of the Forest, V Rising. I love doing all that sort of crafting and building. So, I have high hopes for a game which kind of, bases its whole leveling up system through crafting and so on. And say some of the builds we've seen have been absolutely outstanding. So high hopes for the game, some concerns, but definitely on the wish list, one to watch. And, it's coming out in early access first, so there's going to be plenty of chance to get to grips with that game. And we've seen early access can have a huge impact on the success of games. Baldur's Gate 3 is the obvious example, but there are other games out there. One that's probably much less well known that I had a lot of fun with, the Planet Crafter, early access for a long time, but by the time it released, it was actually a really, really cool and pretty complete game. So high hopes for PAX Dei. Next up, so this one came out of the recent set of game shows, and it's called Still Wakes the Deep.
You bring the police to my door? To my rig?
I can sort this, right? I just need time.
Don't you answer me back! You're fired. You hear me? Fired.
Jesus, Gregor! Gregor!
Okay then, Still Wakes the Deep. 1975, disaster strikes the Pax Dei oil rig off the coast of Scotland. Navigate the collapsing rig to save your crew from an otherworldly horror on the edge of all logic and reality. So release date is June 18th of this year. Developer, The Chinese Room. Publisher, Secret Mode. Yeah, I think this is really quite an interesting game. It's it's that horror style of game, which I think quite interesting. Single player. I think it's a really nice, interesting location for this type of game, doing it on an oil rig. Lots of things that you can do there. For me, I really quite like the underwater sequences. You often find that underwater sequences, type of things, that's the kind of bit that can get your heart racing. Obviously, you're going to have limited time underwater and so on. Got these alien things running around. So from the trailer, looks really quite interesting. We obviously need to see more of the gameplay. So for me at the moment, the story and the sort of the background of this is the bit that's sort of pulling me in to go, I want to wish list this, but really do need to see what the gameplay is going to look like. But definitely, if you look at the tags there, psychological horror, action, and story rich, all things which can make a good, exciting, and thrilling game. And I say this is one that I saw, kind of stepped out and grabbed me, and not one that I have seen before watching the shows recently. Next up, The First Descendant. So the First Descendant now, I mean, visually, that was one of the best looking trailers of all the trailers that we saw for all the different games. I mean, the trailer looks absolutely fantastic. Now, of course, one thing that's lacking in such a great trailer is you want to see real gameplay in it. We didn't get to see that. But what is the First Descendant then? It's a third-person looter shooter. Unreal Engine 5, I think we can see that with how pretty certainly that look there. Become a descendant, fight for the survival of humanity. Descendants have unique abilities to tackle both solo and co-op missions. Up to 4 players use varied mechanics to defeat giant bosses. Be the First Descendant. So this is released on July 2nd of this year, so not long to go. Game plans to unlock in approximately 3 weeks. I say looks really interesting, similar to games I've played. Interestingly, Steam think that's Helldivers 2 and Battlefront 2. For me, I don't know, maybe there was kind of a bit of a Warframe kind of vibe in terms of what this game is about. So we'll see how it pans out. For me, I say it looks really good from that sort of the graphical element. I really liked what I saw in terms of the aesthetic of the characters. That definitely appealed to me. Though I have heard a few things, developer and published by Nexon Games. It will remain to be seen how much this is going to cost either, to buy the game initially or with any microtransactions we see in the game. So that could be a little bit of a concern. But overall, I have to say that was one gorgeous looking trailer. And just that trailer alone makes me want to put it on the wish list. And of course, anything you put on your wish list, you don't have to get it the day it comes out. And in fact, often in my case, I don't get it the day it comes out for 2 reasons. The first one is I can't afford it. The second reason is because I may not be 100% sold on wanting to fork over the money, but I have been sort of taken in. I'm interested in the game, and then I'll wait to see feedback from content creators who have purchased the game or are sponsored to play the game and getting to see it, and then to see if I actually want to take the leap and fork over the cash. But one to go on the wish list, and I use my wish list to keep track of all the games that I'm really interested in. I say that trailer really gripped me, and I really enjoyed it. So there was no doubt this was going on the list. The First Descendant. Okay, next up. So this game has been talked about quite a bit. Once Human. Okay, Once Human. Now, there are a number of content creators who have had chance to play this game, and you can see that. But it's good to see gameplay in the trailer. Particularly, I'm utilising the first trailer that we see on Steam. And that's generally the one that people look at, so that's why I'm playing it. And so it's great to see the gameplay in that. So what is Once Human? Well, Once Human is a multiplayer open-world survival game. So straight away, open-world survival game. That's getting me excited. Set in a strange post-apocalyptic future. Unite with friends to fight monstrous enemies, uncover secret plots, compete for resources, and build your own territory. Once you were merely human, now you have the power to remake the world. So planned release date for this is July 9th, and look, you can already download a Once Human demo. I've heard lots of positive things about this game already. In terms of similar games that I've played, Steam seems to think that's V Rising and Sons of the Forest. I could see the Sons of the Forest element. V Rising obviously slightly different in terms of, that's more of a top-down looking on your character as opposed to this one. But definitely, as I've heard good things about this game from those that have played it. The trailer there looks good. The gameplay there looks good. I think it's got a unique feel while still having, say, that open world survival game, which is always going to get me interested. So Once Human on the list. And again, not long to go. And you can see with this first few games, the next 3 months, lots of really interesting games coming out on the horizon. Certainly won't be picking them all up on day one, as I said, but we'll be certainly keeping an eye on these. Once Human, though, definitely high up on my priority list.
Listen, I don't care what you were doing back on Earth, shooting hobos in tracksuits or sweating in a bush in some godforsaken jungle. This is nothing like what you've ever faced. Our intel confirms enemy operators deployed in the AO. And it seems like those alien freaks can be killed with light. Keep your mission objective a priority, and I'll see you on the other side. Moving out.
Okay, level 0. Well, we've had our eye on this game for quite some time. Now, there is a lot of extraction shooter stuff out there in the marketplace. We've seen a lot of it. And I haven't played that many of them. I haven't played Tarkov or anything like that. They're not always the thing that first is going to grip me. But this one, I kind of... it gripped me with the aesthetic of it. Again, I kind of like the way it looks, interested in the way it played, had a kind of unique feel to it. So let's say it's multiplayer extraction horror. So that's a good thing on my end, having the horror element with tactical FPS combat and immersive dark atmosphere, which I really like that kind of thing. Test your survival skills against rival players and AI enemies during intense raids for valuable loot. Or play as an alien monster, which is interesting, that can only be killed with light and make sure no mortal escapes alive. So, again, you can download the Level 0 Extraction demo right now on Steam. Release date is 2024, but no physical date. Developers Dog Howl Games and published by Tiny Build. Similar games, according to Steam, is PUBG Battlegrounds and Call of Duty. I'm not sure I would go that far as to say that's that similar, but it is online PvP, online co-op, so it's that sort of extraction, working with a team, but there is some PvP in it as well. Like I say, I kind of liked the feel of this game, one to watch. Not sure I'm going to pick it up on day one, but from what I've seen, there was some gameplay in that video, which was quite nice. Kind of gave me that feel that, I want to keep my eye on this game. This game could be really fun. And I say it has that kind of unique feel. And I say from an extraction game, for me, I kind of like the horror and the immersive dark atmosphere as opposed to something more like Tarkov. Okay, next up, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
The best laid plans of men don't always come to fruition. Man proposes, but God disposes. And then boots you right in the balls.
These two young fellas, I need to find them. One's a smart-ass smith, and the other's a blue-blooded fledgling.
You behave like a spoilt brat.
How dare you speak?
Gentlemen, praise be to our Lord Jesus Christ.
Our Father, there are many sinners in this world. But in the end, we all face your judgment for what we should have done, but lacked the courage to do.
The last time I ran away, I lost everything. I'm never gonna run from that fucker again.
Kiss our asses! God, is this retribution for my sins?
To the task!
Come on!
To the task!
To the fucking task.
Okay, so Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 then. So this is a game that I hadn't, and I've heard of Kingdom Come Deliverance. I hadn't played the first game. The second game, the sequel, certainly wasn't on my radar until I saw all the shows around the Summer Game Fest. This came up, piqued my interest, went to look in it a bit more, looked at the first game, was like, this is a game that I think I could be really interested in. So what is it about? It's a thrilling, story-driven action RPG. So again, definitely in my sweet spot of a genre that I like to play, with a rich open world set in the 15th century medieval Europe. Experience the ultimate medieval adventure through the eyes of young Henry as we embark on a journey of epic proportions. So developer is Warhorse Studios, publisher is Deep Silver. Planned release date is during 2024, and according to Steam, similar games to what I've already played is Starfield and Cyberpunk, which is interesting. As I say, I haven't played the first game, Kingdom Come Deliverance. It is there. Something I might now look at just to give me a bit more of a flavour of this game, depending on how much it is there. Currently, it says there in terms of that's long past, which is April the 18th to April 25th. It was an 80% off sale, so maybe I had to pick it up at a good price if you've not played the first one, like myself. But yeah, again, a really good thing about watching these shows like Summer Game Fest and so on, because there are sometimes games that just pop up that weren't on your radar. You look at it and go, oh, that's quite interesting. Go look into it more, put it on the wish list, and see how it pans out. This is one, thanks to those shows, we've put it on the wish list. We're keeping an eye on it, and looks like it could be a really fun game, and sitting in that sweet spot of genre that I quite like to play in. Okay, next up, Flint, Treasure of Oblivion.
Peggy 18.
I'm Captain Flint, and I chose a pirate's life. Once again, wealth was crossing my path. A good sacking plan is always the best way to recruit good sea dogs. This whole city was full of treasures and just waiting to be looted. I had it all together, on land and at sea. Obviously, nothing went as planned. Defeat was stinging. Yet it was just the beginning of our adventure, and they didn't see the end of me.
So this wasn't previewed. This is just a game that I found on Steam. So Flint, Treasure of Oblivion. I do kind of like pirates, the whole Captain Flint thing. For those that know, Captain Flint was a fictional character from sort of the Treasure Island bit, but also was a main character if you saw the Black Sails TV show. So experience the golden age of piracy through a strong and original narrative, real-time exploration, and turn-based tactical combat in Flint, Treasure of Oblivion. So this, for me, seems really quite interesting. Developer Savage Level, publisher Microids now, and planned release date is 2024. Now, I haven't been a massive turn-based person until I really started getting into, bearing in mind that I'm a big tabletop gamer. I'm used to turn-based games, but generally not on the PC. But having recently been playing games like Battletech, Baldur's Gate 3, Rogue Trader, I've got way more into that sort of turn-based tactical combat. And say with the theming of this, I found that really quite interesting. And so Flint, Treasure of Oblivion has made it onto my wish list. And I say, we'll see how it pans out. But there's been some good games in that sort of turn-based tactical combat. So I'm hoping this will be one of those as well. Next up, so we did get a new trailer for this. There has been kind of a mixed view of trailers in the past, but this one came up at the show and definitely went on my wish list, which is Avowed.
Come. Your Emperor has chosen you as our envoy to the living lands. That wild frontier suffers from the dream scourge. Find the root of this terrible plague and put an end to it.
He is wrong. The dream scourge is but a symptom of a deeper, more dangerous rot. Go, tame the chaos that plagues the living lands, so that those who remain standing can shape its future.
They both deceive you. There is more wonder in this world than eyes alone can see. You must open yourself to its mysteries. Tend to its purpose, no matter how wild. And become what the living lands truly needs. Its protector.
Okay, Avowed. Not hugely heavy on the gameplay. Looks like there was a little bit in there. A really nice aesthetic, really nice trailer in there. So it's a first-person fantasy RPG from Obsidian Entertainment and published by Xbox Game Studios. So as you can imagine, this came out on the Xbox showcase. Planned release date is in 2024, and it says similar games to the ones that I've played is Elden Ring and Cyberpunk. So I think this again. You saw the trailer. This is one that I hadn't really been following. I had heard some mixed reaction on some of the trailers that had come out in the past. And I'm not sure about this game, but that trailer really, really quite nice. Really gave, I think, a good flavour to what this game is looking like. It looks like it's going to be about and how it's going to play. We just need to. I'd like to see a little bit more of the gameplay. So I didn't think we get anywhere near enough in that one that we saw there. But we saw the Xbox Game Showcase, and this went straight on the wish list as one we're going to keep an eye on. So due out in 2024. Lots of games coming out this year. There's going to be a lot to choose from, and probably way more than the wallet can sustain. Okay, so after Avowed, we've got Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Let me tell you what you are missing, Dr. Jones. While you were playing your pointless game, I was playing you. You're wondering if maybe you should have built yourself a life of meaning instead of ending up here, dead and forgotten in the sense of Africa.
myths. History. Just different ways to interpret the past. Thousands of years of humanity's thoughts and beliefs, scattered and buried. Just waiting to be found.
You can't just run away from your problems, Indiana.
Watch me. Throughout history, mankind has built sites of great spiritual significance. If you were to draw a line through these ancient sites around the globe, you get a perfectly aligned circle. I've had run-ins with these guys before. Trust me, it ain't a walk in the park.
Okay, then. Let's see if you can keep up.
What do you mean if I could keep up? Patron of the fallen angels. Protector of the Chukulimani. The Great Circle. You have any idea how old that was?
Okay, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, another one that had a trailer come up on the Xbox Game Showcase. There were quite a few, I have to say, on the Xbox Game Showcase that really interested me. Now, I love the Indiana Jones films, particularly the early ones. And, you know, at the same time, I'm often a bit nervous when it comes to these big IPs on games. They don't have the best track record. But I have to say, from the trailer that we saw there, it really did capture the feel of those older Indiana Jones movies. So I definitely think there could be something good there. It looked pretty nice as well. So this is definitely one I want to watch. I say it really gave me the feel from the story aspect, and then the aesthetic that you were literally watching an old Indiana Jones movie. So yeah, definitely one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. So uncover one of history's greatest mysteries in a first-person, single-player adventure. The year is 1937. Sinister forces are scouring the globe for the secret of an ancient power connected to the Great Circle, and only one person can stop them, Indiana Jones. So this is developed by Machine Games and published by Bethesda. So similar to games I've played, Starfield and Far Cry 5, according to Steam. So it's probably not far away, and it is planned to be released in 2024. Like I say, from that trailer, that was kind of the trailer that you saw on the Xbox Game Showcase, and suddenly you were like, oh, this looks like this could be really interesting, and one to watch. Like I say, though, there is a note of caution that big IPs don't have the from television and movies don't have the best track record in games all the time. Sometimes there are some good ones out there, but a lot of time they're only sort of playing on the IP, and then the game doesn't end up being that great. This, though, definitely got my interest. Okay, next up is Monster Hunter Wilds.
Okay. As soon as we find a good spot, we can get things set up and ready to go. And then we can get started.
This is gonna be great!
You bet.
I hope we find them soon.
Look!
Incredible! I've never heard of a Karatnoth herd this big before.
One of them's got big spikes on its back.
Now to lead it away from the pack. We'll make for the desert.
Right! The sandstorm! Now commencing the hunt by order of the guild.
Selected you as a lead hunter for this expedition.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Monster Hunter Wilds. So, again, not a game. I haven't played hardly any of Monster Hunter Wilds. It's a game I've wanted to get into, just haven't had the time to get into. You know, I do own Monster Hunter World and also the the old Monster Hunter Rise as well. So I haven't kind of got into the genre yet. I really like the aesthetic of the trailer. I do want to get in more into the Monster Hunter games, and I want to be playing them. It looks like we've got plenty of time. This game is not due to be released until 2025, so there's quite a while to go. So I'll definitely have time to jump into Monster Hunter World before then. The hunt is on in Monster Hunter Wilds, the latest installment in the Monster Hunter series, now in development. Experience the pinnacle of excellence in hunting action gameplay, as they planned for release in 2025, and as all the others, developed and published by Capcom. So Monster Hunter, like I say, a franchise I've just wanted to get into. I haven't had the time to get into it quite yet, but with this game on the horizon, it's gone onto my wish list, and as a result, I think there's definitely going to be some time I need to put into Monster Hunter World and Rise as well. But certainly Monster Hunter World is one I want to get playing sooner rather than later. Next up is Doom: The Dark Ages. Well, it's Doom. Is there anything else you've got to say about that? Well, okay, this one, again, on the Xbox Game Showcase. So many great games on there that definitely appeal to me. So, yeah, Doom. And the only description for the game is you are the super weapon in a medieval war against hell. So I've played a lot of Doom. I've played all the original Doom games, the original Doom, Doom 2, Doom 64, plus all the newer versions of Doom with Doom, Doom Eternal, and so on. Really love Doom. It's such a great franchise. I really, really enjoy it. This is an interesting new take. It was cool to see some of the what looks to be gameplay elements, some of the different weapons on there, some of the different enemies on there, but still keeping that feel of Doom, which is absolutely brilliant. So developed by ID Software, no surprise there, and also published by Bethesda. Due to be released in 2025, so this one definitely on the horizon. It says similar to games you've played, Cyberpunk and Call of Duty. Well, let's face it, in reality, this is similar to Doom and all the other Doom games that come before. So if you're a Doom fan, then I'm absolutely sure this game's going to meet the bill. But wait and see. Their Doom games do kind of go up and down in terms of their overall quality, but they do have kind of that same style of gameplay and the same type of story thing that you're going to be going through. Like I say, for me, I think what really interests me in this Doom game, it's not a reboot, it's not just kind of a sequel. This is kind of putting it in a different era, in a different look and take on Doom, which I think is absolutely fantastic, but while keeping that feel of what Doom means to us all as a game. So definitely one that I will be watching very, very closely as a fan of the Doom franchise. Okay, so after Doom, we have No More Room in Hell 2. Okay, No More Room in Hell 2. So again, I saw this one on the Summer Gaming Festival, saw the trailer. I wouldn't say I'm like the biggest zombie person. I do like my horror games, but as you can see, I really quite enjoy playing Left 4 Dead 2. So early access, this game is coming in 2024. So No More Room in Hell 2 is a terrifying 8-player co-op action horror experience. Find your friends in the dark and survive in a dynamic, endlessly replayable zombie apocalypse. So definitely with that trailer, with the description, this is one I want to keep an eye on. Like I say, I really did enjoy Left 4 Dead 2, co-op zombie experience. It kind of gave me like a kind of similar feel to that with the 8-player co-op, though a little bit more to it, as you might expect for a game that's coming out this year. So it is coming out in early access, and I think definitely one to watch. There are a lot of zombie games out there. Not all of them, I think, appeal to everybody. I did play DayZ, for example, and a few others that didn't quite do it for me. Though this one, I think, is definitely more the sort of game that I'm going to enjoy, and is probably a bit closer to that Left 4 Dead feel that I particularly enjoy in the zombie zombie arena. So developed by Torn Banner Studios and also published by them as well. Okay, what is next? Next up is a big one. It is Dune Awakening.
The only peace I find is a future that never happened. One where I, Paul Atreides, was never born. I created the future until it created me. But I see a narrow way, a path that might have been. What if my mother had obeyed her orders and given birth to a girl? Everything would change. Dr. Yue exposed before his betrayal. A world where my father lives. House Atreides surviving the Battle of Arrakeen. S.T.A.L.K.E.R deployed to protect the spice melange. A war of assassins spreading across the planet. Fremen exterminated. No Muad'Dib. No Lisan al-Gaib. No Kwisatz Haderach. All of my visions lead to horror. Except for this one. This one leads to you.
Okay, so Dune Awakening. I mean, it's coming from a great IP, right? The movies are big right now as well. So, you've got rise from survival to dominance on the most dangerous planet in the universe. Dune Awakening combined the grit and creativity of sandbox survival games, big tick for me, with the social interactivity of a large, persistent multiplayer game to create a unique and ambitious open world survival MMO. So for me, this is a game where you sit there and go, this game has huge potential. Can they pull it off? I mean, it's being developed and published by Funcom, of course, who have done the Conan Exiles, which is quite a fun game. I do quite enjoy playing that. I wouldn't say I've played a lot of Conan Exiles, but I have played the game, and it was reasonably fun. Like I say, this game, I think it's got huge potential. It's got a great IP behind it. It's got a really good potential aesthetic behind it as well, but is going to be a difficult thing to pull off that's going to keep you well into the game. So, I like my survival games, so an open world survival MMO, that's got real interest for me and is definitely on the watch list. So we'll see how this one pans out in terms of this is an MMO and there's also online PvP in it as well. So we'll see how the game pans out. But one I really want to watch because this could be a really cool and a really big game with huge potential. Next up is Blind Descent. Okay, Blind Descent. I've had my eye on this game for a while. We've had no new news for quite some time, which is a bit of a shame. Certainly nothing that came out of any of the recent shows. So due to come out in early access first, but the planned release date still to be announced. So it's a multiplayer open world survival adventure game with up to 4 players set in the Martian underground. So you can see, for someone like me who really enjoys the survival genre, the whole crafting, building things, that sort of Subnautica vibe and Sons of the Forest vibe, this definitely appeals to me. I think it's a nice, interesting idea. So it's sort of, set on Mars, but underground, where you've got this whole world, which I think is really quite interesting and having to survive there. So developed and published by Pokuch. Don't know exactly how you pronounce that, but Pokuch looks to be how I would say it. Yeah, quite interesting. It says there, similar games on Steam. I'm not sure Cyberpunk's appropriate, but certainly Sons of the Forest would give me that feel. Maybe Subnautica 2. It's obviously just not underwater. So, this game, Blind Descent, I'm hoping we're going to get more information and a release date fairly soon, because I really want to give this game a go. Next up is Outbreak Island.
A couple of months ago, I couldn't even imagine that I would end up here, and all this would happen to me. This freaking island can wipe out all of humanity, and I'm here to make things right. But first, it's time for dinner. What a mess. I hope there's finally something fresh on the menu tonight. Oh, here we go. Let there be light. And here come the first customers. Enjoy your meal. So, how do I start my day on the island? Just like any other normal person does. I love the smell of the forest in the morning. Nothing invigorates you better than a jog in the fresh air. Living my best life. On my way, I stop for groceries. A hearty and balanced breakfast is the foundation of a productive day. Usually, the selection is not too diverse, but sometimes you come across real delicacies. By the way, I cook breakfast for myself. I have to improvise, but it always turns out finger-licking good. Afterwards, I drive to work. You have no idea how wonderful life is without traffic jams. There, I do my routine stuff. Trying my best not to get into any trouble. Finally, I'm home. This is the only place where I truly feel safe. Sometimes I overdo it a bit, and then I need a small repair on myself. My insurance is expired, but the service here is not the best either. The day is coming to an end, and my faithful yellow friend and I are heading out to grab dinner. And here we are, the next link in this crazy food chain. Who's next?
Okay, Outbreak Island. Well, we didn't see this appear in the recent shows, but again, another one that I've had my eye on for a while. looks really quite an interesting game. It's got that survival element to it. It's got a bit of that zombie element. I mean, the survival crafting is pretty cool. If we look at the description, survive on a remote island where a mysterious outbreak awakens bloodthirsty monsters at night. Craft, build, and defend your base. Okay, cool. We've ticked off all the cool boxes. In a brutal world of Outbreak Island, an open world sandbox survival horror game. So this is a single player game. Again, for me, it's got very much that kind of Sons of the Forest style vibe to it, but it's Subnautica maybe, but I think more Sons of the Forest vibe to it. And developed by Tiny Magicians and published by Hype Train Digital. So it says coming soon. No dates yet or even year that this is going to be available. But for me, definitely one to watch. And that was a nice video. There's gameplay elements in there, kind of showing you, what you can do, what things you can do in the game. It's nice. You kind of got vehicles you can drive around in, load up your materials. I thought that was really nice. I wouldn't say it's the best looking game that I've seen, but hey, we're still early in the game without even a release date, so I'm sure it will be much sharper when it comes to release. But yeah, definitely a game I'm interested in, and I say it does give me that whole Sons of the Forest style vibe to it. Next up is Derelicts. Oh, look, another crafting survival game on the list. What a surprise. Well, I do really enjoy that genre. So what does it say? Derelicts. So years after an ancient and enigmatic mechanism flooded Earth with radiation, you and your team are tasked with investigating the source of the incident. Build, craft, and explore alone or with friends in this hostile, mysterious wasteland using the power of electricity and water to survive. Developed and published by Romain, and release date to be announced. We don't know when this is coming, but overall, again, it's got that whole Sons of the Forest vibe. In fact, it's probably the one that gives me the closest thing to a Sons of the Forest vibe so far, given the sort of aesthetic and what's happening there. Though it looks like it has a really, really detailed base building sort of crafting system, all the things we saw there with wires joining up to set lights and water piping and everything else. So that looked like it had a really, really detailed, say, crafting and building, and that really, really appeals to me. So it says single player or online co-op, LAN co-op, and cross-platform multiplayer. So a good game, like again, like Sons of the Forest, where you can play on your own or play with friends, which I always think it's great that they add in that option where you can play multiplayer with friends in these survival games. So definitely one. It's going to be on the list for me. It ticks all those boxes of that whole survival genre. Next up, something a little different, Under a Rock. Okay, so a little bit different. Well, okay, a procedural open world survival craft game. So it's not really different. It's an open world survival craft game. The thing that's different here is the aesthetic. Normally I tend to go for these sort of more grim, dark style games that appeal to me. However, I really like the vibe that this game gives of with its aesthetic, a bit more of a light-hearted and brighter look at a survival game. And I think sometimes it's nice just to have that difference rather than just having kind of Sons of the Forest and variants of over and over and over. So a procedural open-world survival craft game for 1 to 10 players. Explore a primitive but dangerous place with a different evolutionary path. Here wildlife is oversized and Neanderthals still exist and curses are real. So that all sounds really quite interesting. I say it's got that, all that ticks the boxes of that open world survival, but again has that different vibe to give you, this is now a different game to play that you want to get into and take it all the way through to its conclusion. Developed by Nordic Trolls and published by Gameforge 4D. Single player online co-op and LAN co-op as well. And again, in terms of Steam, it says similar games to the ones I've played, V Rising and Sons of the Forest. I'd say it's probably more Sons of the Forest-y as a style game. But this is a much brighter game. It doesn't have the grim dark elements of the things we've just seen, like Derelicts and so on. And so that's why this one really appealed to me. Again, something I want to keep an eye on. Next up is Instinction. Okay, so we're not going to watch all of that trailer. That is a 7-minute trailer, but this is a game with dinosaurs in it. And who doesn't like dinosaurs? So Instinction is a wide, linear, prehistoric action-adventure game filled with combat and exploration, developed and published by Hashbane Interactive. So a set coming soon. It actually looks very pretty. I think it looks really nice, and some of the graphical images I've seen of the dinosaurs again look great. So this game at the moment seems to have a really good feel to it. It says it's single player and online co-op again, which is good. And I like this idea of, not everything has to be open world. We have a lot of that. So the fact it's like this wide linear prehistoric action game. So it's kind of like a very much a direction to it as you play the game, which I think is really quite nice. So definitely one to watch. We don't know when it's coming out. In terms of Steam, it says similar to games you played, Starfield and Far Cry 5. I'm not quite sure about that, but certainly for me, this gives me that feeling of I want to watch this game. It certainly looks very good. It's definitely got some of those survival elements to it. Kind of looks like, for me, a maybe not quite as hardcore survival as Green Hell, but I kind of had that kind of bit of a Green Hell vibe, but with dinosaurs in, and with a sort of a more focused action adventure element to it. So we'll see how the game pans out, but definitely one that is pretty high up on my radar. Okay, and we are getting through the games. There's still quite a few to go. So next up is one that came off the recent shows that we've seen over the last few days, Mandragora.
Take me forward, no matter the danger. Passenger is lost. So is this world.
A short but pretty informative trailer there for Mandragora. Again, I saw this on the Future Game Show over the last couple of days. So this is a slash, burn, and raid your way through Mandragora, 2.5D side-scroller action RPG with deep Metroidvania and Souls-like elements. Light your witch lantern and enter the dark realm of entropy and tear reality asunder. This one, I saw the trailer, it stood out as a game like I've played some of these side-scrolling games before. I have done some time in Blasphemous, for example, and that does come up there as similar to games I've played. Certainly not similar to Elden Ring, but Blasphemous 2, but with some quite nice graphics in there, some nice looking bosses. Definitely for me, one to watch. It's set as coming soon. I say again, it just goes to show the value of looking at some of these showcases like Future Game Show and so on of games that are coming that aren't on your radar. I'd never heard of this game, wasn't on my radar. I saw the trailer, I was like, it's got gameplay elements into it, and for me that's the best thing that these companies can do is when they're trying to advertise a game is, we like our great cinematics, and that gives you the sort of emotional connection to the game. But at the end of the day, it's a game and we want to play it. So what makes a good game isn't the cinematic, it's the gameplay. So we want to see the gameplay. This game really gave me a good feeling of the gameplay in that video. Obviously, there's a lot more that we need to see. But when I saw it, I was like, this game interests me. I want to put that on my wish list. So Mandragora, could be really quite interesting and quite fun game. Okay, next up is Blight Survival.
Stop warming your balls and get over here! Hey, are you listening to me?
Sure, I am.
You're hearing me. You ain't listening.
Leave off, Granger.
Look at him, or I'll make you.
Boy, calm down, will you? Alright, I'm looking.
What did I say then, eh?
Just for the paint.
That's it. That painted armor. Bloody savages, didn't I say?
Yeah, you said it, Granger.
Get off him. What, you think he's got blight? Sometimes it's harder to spot, yeah? Gets in your veins first. Clogs up your brain. You're infected before you know it. He's dead. Poor bastard reeks. Probably dead for days. You're new to this. It only gets worse after they're dead. Makes you almost sorry for him. My ass doesn't feel too sorry. Keep looking.
Okay, again, quite a long trailer. We're not going to play all of that. I really, really want to play this game, right? So Blight Survival is a medieval cooperative extraction light set in an alternate 14th century. Now, of course, in that video we've just seen, it's literally all gameplay. And for me, that looks like that could be really nice. The way the combat, the movement on it all looks really nice. You know, so seeing all these different elements, seeing, you know, the way that you loot, turning the bodies over, just some of those elements kind of really give me this. I really want to play this game. I've been following it for a while. Planned release date still to be announced. We don't know when it's coming out, but yeah, I want to get my hands on this. I want to play it. It looks like it could be a lot of fun. It kind of gives me, again, that some kind of survival element, but it says there it's a cooperative extraction light. So again, I'm not the biggest player of extraction games, but something with a vibe like this, I think could be really nice. And again, it's particularly set in this this time frame as well. The whole medieval time frame definitely appeals to me. So I would say I really want to play this game. So keeping my eyes on this quite a bit. Single player and online co-op, it is stated. So we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, this one very, very high up on my radar. Next up is Rooted.
Your attention, please. This is a state emergency announcement. The Rotor Laboratory, on behalf of the government, assures that none of the bacteriological attacks will harm citizens' health. I quote, "There are no risks of any kind. You are safe in your house. Not attempt leaving the city using transportation services." Food resupply is allowed once a week for each citizen. Please use the dedicated smartphone app to register yourself and check stocks. You can proceed to go to work, school, and shops around your block. It is crucial to have your ID card with you at all times in case of control. For safety reasons, the Army has deployed autonomous civilian security robots. They are here to protect you.
Okay, so Rooted. Now that video was actually from the 2022 future game show. And in this solo and multiplayer survival game, that's definitely going to be on the list. Explore an ancient overgrown world full of dangers. Salvage, build, craft, and hunt. Fantastic. And try to survive alone or with your friends in an evolving and fascinating post-apocalyptic environment powered by Unreal Engine 5, developed and published by Headlight Studios. So again, still waiting to hear on a release date, but really recent events and announcements, and that's one of the great things about wishlisting games. You want to check where a game is, go into the game, go to your wish list, click on the game. You can see their recent events and announcements. There was news on April 17th there of this year, open world technical overview. So you can see it's still ongoing, single player, online PvP, online co-op, all listed. Saying it's similar to Subnautica and Sons of the Forest, well, yeah, okay, a little bit. But there is that multiplayer element of the survival game. So, like I say, a big fan of survival games. Anything that you can kind of build, craft, hunt, survive, all that sort of stuff. Really cool. So we'll see how this one pans out. So I've got quite a few of them on the list. It'd be great if they were all amazing, but we'll have to keep an eye on them. But that's why we put them on the wish list, is to see what's going on with them, when they're coming out, and getting feedback and seeing more and more of the gameplay. Okay, next up, well, we saw one dinosaur game. The next one is The Lost Wild, is our next dinosaur game. Okay, The Lost Wild. Again, I mean, look quite nice in terms of graphically there. It says it's a survival horror adventure. So that's cool. We tick a couple of boxes there. About overcoming nature's most formidable forms of life. Explore overgrown research facilities nestled in a lush wilderness. Be resourceful. Intimidate, evade, and unravel the mystery at the heart of the island. So we're still waiting for a release date. It's developed by Great 8 Games and published by Annapurna Interactive. So, it's a single-player game. It says it's similar to Sons of the Forest in terms of games that I've personally played. So it's the second dinosaur on the list behind Extinction. Slightly different, I think, than Extinction. Than in Instinction, I should say. So we'll see how it pans out. But again, looks like this could be quite an interesting game. And as you can see, a lot of my list focused in and around survival games, horror games, and crafting games. So we'll see how they turn out. But Lost Wild, next on the list. Okay, after The Lost Wild, we have Ark 2. And I'm sure lots of people are already familiar with the first game.
My dad tells stories of a terrible war that happened across the sky. Heroes fought and died to give us a chance to start over. All that I know from their Earth are the creatures they sent along with us. And here on Arat, every day is a fight to survive. But if anyone can tame this new world, we can.
Okay, Ark 2 then. So, planned release date still to be announced. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Ark. Obviously, there is Ark 1. Survive the past, tame the future, suddenly awakened on a primal world filled with dinosaurs and humans struggling for dominance. You must team up with legendary heroes to confront powerful dark forces, saddle up and join the definitive next-gen survival experience with Ark 2. So it is a survival game developed by Studio Wildcard and published by Studio Wildcard. I mean, a really nice, good-looking trailer, but we've come to see that a lot from these Unreal 5 engine games, which tend to be great cinematics or tech demos, but very little of the gameplay. So when it says next-gen survival experience, we've yet to really dig into and see what does that mean, and how this game's going to pan out. But we already have, there is a first game Ark, so we can certainly have a feel of what the game is going to be about and how it's going to play, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of changes with this, specifically since they're saying it's a next-gen survival experience, so we'll see what that actually means. But it's been around for a while, and we still don't have a release date, so who knows when this game is going to be released. Next on the list, and we are not far off the end of the list now, next up is Primitive. Well, that's definitely a cool looking trailer with some gameplay elements in there as well, which is always great to see. So welcome to the brutal reality of the Stone Age. Fight, conquer and dominate an open world full of traps and unexpected events. Breathtaking views, and I have to say it did look quite nice. Dynamic changes in weather conditions, deadly beasts and hostile tribes. Welcome to Primitive and Dare to Survive. So again, it's got that survival feel to it, but again, it's in that different aesthetic, right? It's in a different age. You're into Primitive, you're into those stone weapons, you're hunting mammoths and saber-toothed tigers and stuff like that. So yeah, looks really quite interesting, and I say a different take, a different period on a survival game. Developed by Gamesbox, published by Gamesbox and Ultimate Games. Say still no release date, but again on my wish list. Keep an eye on this game. Again, on a wish list which is full of survival games. Okay, next up is Emberville. Okay, so there we have Emberville. So I first heard about this game on Carnage's stream. Carnage, one of my favorite content creators and live streamers, often watching his stream or his past streams on YouTube. Now, I know he's absolutely involved with this game. That's where I heard about it. And of course, Carnage is involved, so it has to have fishing in it, right? And you can see it's quite different from those other games on the list, but help the citizens of Emberville rebuild their town as you rescue them from the clutches of wicked forces with the aid of a mysterious and loyal friend. Learn various crafting and combat skills as we explore the treacherous corridors of a massive, ever-changing dungeon. So this, to me, looks really quite interesting. Like I say, it's quite different from the other games on my list, but I do quite enjoy the games like this, and it does have an element of crafting in it and things as well. And you can see that sort of the crafting and building that was going on, the fishing there, the resource gathering, as well as this sort of dungeon crawling aspect to it. So developed by Cygnus Cross and also published by them, due to come to early access, but no date available yet. I understand that there will be announcements soon, and as you can see in the recent events and news here, there is an Emberville State of the Game Update 1 that was posted on the 1st of May this year. So I understand that will come up fairly soon. But Emberville, I think a really nice, interesting and different take on a game, and a game that I kind of have a feeling right now could play really well on my Steam Deck. Okay, next up is Perfect New World.
Hello, Soul Tamers. I'm the game designer of Perfect New World, a boundless world MMO action RPG. As we gear up for the equilibrious test of Perfect New World, I am thrilled to introduce some exhilarating in-game content for you to savor collectively. Countdown to the launch of our equilibrious test has commenced, and we extend a warm invitation to all to visit our official website for game registration and test recruitment. Your unwavering support for Perfect New World is deeply appreciated.
Okay, Perfect New World. So, is a boundless world MMO action RPG where you become a soul tamer and search for the reincarnated Prime. Immerse yourself in the experience without loading screens as you overcome the dangerous challenges and unveil the mysteries this world has to offer. Developed by Iron Core Game Studio and published by Perfect World Games. So, and no date right now for release. So, a big fan of MMOs in the past, spending many thousands of hours in games like World of Warcraft, EVE Online, Star Wars The Old Republic, Guild Wars 2, just to name a few, but of late certainly become quite jaded with MMOs. Certainly the older ones I'm kind of out of now, and the one concern I have with any new MMO is the level of monetization and the style of monetization that goes into the game and how it is how it's brought into the game, in terms of pay to win, or how much you actually have to spend playing the game. Is it going to be subscription based, which definitely seems to be not flavor of the years at the moment. There's not many subscription based MMOs out there anymore, and so I kind of want a new MMO to be really good that I could kind of get attached to again. But right now, this is kind of the one that, it looks nice and everything. It kind of gives me a nice flavor. I really want to see more of the combat. I'm not sure I got enough of a feel of how the combat's going to play out with that video. I'm sure with the tests that have been going on, there's probably plenty of content creator videos out there where you can look at some more of that combat and get a sense of how it is. So I'm really interested to see where this game goes. I really want it to be good, but I do want to see more of the combat, and I do have concerns about how the game will be monetized, whether it makes it a long-term game that you want to spend lots of time, effort, and probably cash on it. So we'll keep an eye on Perfect New World. Okay, next up is a game that we saw from Summer Game Fest, which is called Mecha BREAK. Okay, so we've got a summer closed beta test coming up there. So Mecha BREAK is a multiplayer mech game that allows players to choose from diverse mechs, customize appearances, and battle colossal war machines on treacherous terrain. Get ready for the ultimate showdown, blitz, brawl, and blaze. So kind of has like almost a Gundam-esque aesthetic to it, with a bit of Armored Core in there. But from the description there, sounds like it's kind of got that mech warrior multiplayer PvP element to it. So we'll see how the game's going to pan out. Obviously, that closed beta time frame, announced. So beta test announced for the summer. I saw this one at Summer Game Fest. I like my mech games. I played a lot of Mech Warrior, both the campaign games. I played Mech Warrior Online quite a bit, BattleTech, and all that sort of stuff. I do like my mech games, and I loved Armored Core as well. So we'll see how this game pans out. Definitely for me, one on the watch list. Not sure I'm going to pick it up on day one. I want to see more about it. It's developed by Amazing Seasun and published by them as well. So saw this on Summer Game Fest, really liked the trailer. That kind of gave me I want to know more about this game. Let's put it on the wish list, see how it's going to pan out. I want to see more of the actual gameplay that's going to, and how that gameplay is going to work and interact before I'd want to jump in. But so far it's kind of like, this interests me. I love like the whole customizable mech space. Next up, Delta Force Hawk Ops.
Looks like I've got a tally on the boys. Jock's on the ground, going into holding pattern.
Plagued by unending conflict and suffering, I found a way to make it better. Progress, though, it comes with a cost. They weren't ready for me, for my plan and its ways. Fear drove them to rise against me. First with stones and pitchforks, now with more. They stole my blueprints, broke my lines of production, and cracked my foundation. Primal fear clouded their minds. They did not see that this risk, these changes, were a path to prosperity. Balance must be pursued at all costs, and the balance will be due, whether with them or even myself. And ready. This is the moment. We shall rise.
Okay then, so saw this one at Summer Game Fest. Big fan of the old Delta Force games back in the day, that era of Delta Force. There was Black Hawk Down, of course. There was Joint Operations, Typhoon Rising. We had Armored Fist 3, F-22. It's all that kind of era of games. So great to see a Delta Force game back. Interesting they've set it in the sort of 2035, so that sort of near-term futuristic era, which can be a bit of a hit and miss for me personally. Sometimes I don't like going too far in the future. But what does it say? It says Delta Force Hawk Ops is a free-to-play first-person tactical shooter. Returns as the latest in the classic series with 25 years defining the genre. Delta Force is back with an upgraded arsenal of weaponry, jaw-dropping environment, and a truly dynamic world. So it's developed by Team Jade, published by Timmy Studio Group. Currently no release date as yet, but you can see there is a PC alpha test coming in July. So definitely interested to see where this game is going to go, and interesting also that it's free to play. So what's going to be the model on this game? Certainly different from the original Delta Force games, which was you buy the game and that's it and you play through the story, right? So we'll see where it's going to go. But saw this on Summer Game Fest. They also said on Summer Game Fest that there was going to be like a remastered Black Hawk Down element with cut scenes from the Ridley Scott movie and that sort of stuff. So again, that would be pretty cool as well for me. So Delta Force Hawk Ops, an interesting one to watch. I'd like to know kind of where this game is going to go, especially given it's a free to play model, and how it's all going to pan out. Next up, G.I. Joe, Wrath of Cobra. Okay, so we saw with this recently. We had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming back. We've kind of got this side-scrolling beat 'em up game. We had I love G.I. Joe, big fan of G.I. Joe, particularly the 80s era of it in terms of both the cartoons, comic books, and so on. In the game there, we had Roadblock and Duke, Scarlet, Gung Ho, Snake Eyes are all there, along with all the usual Cobra goons. So what does it say? It says, Yo Joe, Cobra returns once again with its most fiendish plot yet, and it's up to G.I. Joe to defeat them once more. Pick one of the real American heroes, gear up, and get straight into the fight in this retro side-scrolling beat-em-up and make Cobra a treat yet again. Developer is Maple Powered Games. Publisher is Indie.io. Currently no release date, but you can download a demo. As I said, big fan of G.I. Joe. And, you know, I really actually quite enjoy playing some of these side-scrolling beat-em-up retro style. You know, it takes me back to things like Golden Axe and Streets of Rage and stuff like that. So, you know, I love playing Streets of Rage. It kind of gave me that vibe. Also, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well. So, all of that era. So, really looking forward to this game. I think this is going to be a really good, fun, chilled-out game. With an IP that I really like. So for me, definitely won the list. Not going to be for everybody, but you know, so I love G.I. Joe, and I kind of like these side-scrolling beat-em-ups in the retro style as well. So ticks the boxes for me. Next up, Path of Exile 2.
I've lived in this forest all my life, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's that a ranger must never miss. A beast will hunt you, but it is the cruelty of man I fear.
I'll take your finger!
There is no truly escaping the Count's justice.
Your sentence is to be hanged from the neck until dead. Let your souls feed the first ones, and your bodies feed the land. After her!
This exile has changed me. No more running. No more fear.
You won't get away this time.
I will put an end to this madness. Let this be a warning, Gianor. I'm coming for you next.
Okay, one of the many videos that are out there for Path of Exile 2 in terms of there's plenty of gameplay videos and stuff out there. So Path of Exile 2, next generation free-to-play action RPG from Grinding Gear Games, featuring co-op for up to 6 players, set years after the original Path of Exile. You will return to the dark world of Rayclast and seek to end the corruption that is spreading. So developed and published by Grinding Gear Games, currently no release date yet set. So a real odd thing now. So this is probably one of, if not the game that I'm waiting for on the entire list. A lot of games on this list that I really love the look of. You know, Space Marine 2, and there's a whole bunch of games on this list that I can't wait to get my hands on. But I'm really, really looking forward to Path of Exile 2. Now, here's the oddity. The oddity is I haven't played Path of Exile 1 yet, and I do intend to do so very, very soon. But I've recently really started to get more into this style of game, having played Diablo 4, Last Epoch, you know, really kind of getting into that. I mean, even V Rising, yes, it's a survival game, but it has this style of play and movement and everything else in terms of how it is. So I'm really, really looking forward to this. And every video I have seen of this game, from gameplay to cinematics and everything else, just looks amazing. The bosses look amazing. So much variety. I've seen lots of things about the different classes, which there's a whole bunch of those that appeal to me, particularly as someone that sort of trends towards range DPS classes or necromancer classes. You know, I quite enjoy the necromancer in Diablo 4, for example. So, you know, when I was playing V Rising, I was always defaulting to the longbow. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to this game. As I say, this is probably the game on the list, if not number one, certainly right up there. In my head right now, it's number one. But I want to give the first Path of Exile game a go. But I'm sure there's going to be quite a few differences here as they're learning, you know, the those lessons from that first game to make their next game even better. I've heard so much good stuff about Path of Exile. I do want to give it a go, and I'm really, really looking forward to playing this game and seeing how it goes. I say, getting more into this type of game from where I've been in the past. Next up, Perfect Dark.
Your target is in possession of a radioactive device. Stop Carrington's attack at all costs. Good luck, Agent.
I always knew I had an instinct. I could see the world differently. I thought it would be like any other mission. I was wrong.
Welcome to Garden City, where it's a pleasant 23 degrees all day, every day.
How far to his last known location?
Local forces are also tracking his whereabouts. You need to find him before they do.
I'll have to improvise.
Generating voice print.
افتح. ارسل واحدا آخر. اختبر البوابة بحسب.
What readings are you getting?
We are getting odd readings from your monitor. Can you confirm?
I'm looking at the screen right now.
Our intel places Carrington on the second floor.
On the life we think we know turns out to be a lie. There's only one way forward. Find the truth. Scan's clear. I'm going in blind. Carrington! Damn it! Analyze. What am I looking at here?
Carrington appears to be targeting a research facility. If he attacks it, the casualties could be astronomical.
Agent Stark, it's a pleasure to meet you. I could use someone with your skills.
To lose everything before I could see. What this world was really hiding.
I hope you're ready, Agent Dark.
Are you all seeing this?
Once you open this door, there's no going back.
Another great game that came out of the Xbox Game Showcase. So, Perfect Dark. Man, I loved the original game and I had no idea this was on the horizon. So, a secret agent thriller set in a near-future world of spies, technology, and secrets, developed by the initiative, published by Xbox Game Studios. So, I mean, that was a great trailer. I mean, lots of gameplay. The gameplay looked really cool in that. Looked really fun game. Yeah, I had no idea this was on the horizon until I saw the Xbox Game Showcase. Went straight on the wish list. I love the original game. And I had no idea this was coming. And that trailer with that gameplay just looks so good, so fun. I hope it proves out to be as fun as it looked in that trailer. So Perfect Dark. Yeah, that was a great one. And again, another good reason to watch these shows so that we can add these games to the wish list and keep an eye on them. And then the last game on our Steam wishlist is Gears of War E-Day. So, Xbox again knocking it out the park with the games that were shown. Certainly for me personally, games that were shown on the Xbox Game Showcase. They got so many cool ones on there. So, developed by the Coalition, published by Xbox Game Studios, Gears of War, a huge and well-known franchise. So, experience the brutal horror of Emergence Day through the eyes of Marcus Fenix in the origin story of one of gaming's most acclaimed sagas. So again, no release date on this one, but essentially this is a prequel for Gears of War. I mean, that trailer looked great. Obviously, we've seen no gameplay, but it is Gears of War. We're pretty familiar with the franchise and how it's going to look. You do want to see some gameplay as always, but that just looked awesome. Great to see such a cool franchise coming back with another game. So, and that brings us to the end of our Steam wishlist for mid 2024. I think overall, watching the Summer Games Show, Summer Games Festival with the Xbox one, with the Future Games Show, the PC gaming one, really cool stuff. A lot of cool games coming out, both coming in 2024, coming in 2025. There's lots of cool games there. You can see I've got a heavy influence on survival games, crafting, horror, but there's some other ones in there as well, like all those RPG games, both action RPG and so on, and a few oddities on the list as well. And as always, putting these things on the wish list is such a great thing to do. You see a trailer, put it on the wish list. Don't have to buy it day one. In fact, most of the time, I don't even recommend buying a game on day one. The aim is you put it on the wish list, track the game, see when it comes out, see when the sales come out for the game, because it's very clear on your wish list when there's a sale ongoing for the game. Good time to pick games up. Good chance for you to watch content creators playing games to get an idea of, is this a game I want to drop the cash on or not? So, that's why I love using my Steam wishlist. I love watching these presentation shows as well of new games that are coming out, because then I can go straight and wishlist it on Steam and go, yeah, that looked really cool. I want to keep an eye on that, see what's happening with it, keep all up to date with the news when it's coming out and everything else. So, hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it gave you a flavour. Maybe if you're a person that has a similar sort of games interest as I do, maybe there's a few games on that list that you weren't aware of, maybe didn't see the Summer Games Festival stuff and the Xbox presentation and so on. If you didn't, as I said at the beginning of the video, you can go and re-watch all of them, and there is a page specifically for that on Steam. And if you go there and then you click on like the Xbox one, you can see every single game that's on Steam that was listed on that presentation, and then you can go and see that game page, you can put it on your wish list and so on, and find out more information about it. So, like I said, hope it was useful, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below, and in the comments down below, in the description, I will be putting all the chapters and list of the games, so that if you're only interested in certain ones, you want to go and see a bit more about the game, you can just obviously click on it in the chapter section. As always, if you want to see more content, please hit that subscribe button. It's totally free for you to do it. It's a big deal for me, so thank you for that in advance. You've been watching The Ghost Owl. This wraps up our Steam wishlist mid-year 2024.